Philadelphia Eagles fans, welcome back to another episode of the J All Day NFL show. Today we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to do a 7-round mock draft after free agency. The Philadelphia Eagles have lost a ton of players so far in these first couple days of free agency. CJ Gardner-Johnson just got traded to the Houston Texans. So we're going to break down this roster. I'm going to let you know where all the Eagles players are going, what holes are opened up, and do a full 7-round mock draft after free agency. The Eagles have some holes they need to fill. Let's get into it. All right, Philadelphia Eagles fans, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really does help us get into the algorithm. And if you like Eagles content and NFL content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you take a look at your screen right now, we're going to go over this Philadelphia Eagles roster after free agency. The big glaring holes at safety. Sidney Brown is now plugged in as the starter because CJ Gardner-Johnson just got traded to the Houston Texans for an offensive lineman. Okay. There are some holes at cornerback, too. Ringo is set to be the starter as of right now because Darius Slay got released and he just signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? All right, Eagles fans. There's also a hole at off-ball linebacker because Nakobe Dean with that injury is probably not going to be ready till like November or December. And Oren Burks just signed a 2-year, $5 million deal to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. More on the Eagles' defensive line. Milton Williams signs a monster deal with the Patriots. It looks like it's 4 years, about $26 million per season. That's insane. He's extremely overpaid. I like Milton Williams, but 26 milli, woo, baby. And then Josh Sweat, he goes to the Arizona Cardinals, guys, on a 4-year, $76 million deal, reuniting him with Jonathan Gannon. He'll be an outside linebacker in that 3-4 defense for the Arizona Cardinals, guys. If we take a look at the offense, no news on Mekhi Becton yet, but hopefully the Eagles will be able to work something out so he could play right guard. Right now, Tyler Steen is plugged in this spot. You know, we'll see how he plays out. So Bradbury got released. Darius Slay's with Pittsburgh. Isaiah Rodgers, he's also gone too, guys. He signed a 2-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. So cornerback is definitely pretty thin. Oren Burks to Cincinnati. Williams to New England. Sweat to Arizona. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, the news just broke, going to the Texans on a trade. Now, let's get into that 7-round mock draft for your Philadelphia Eagles after free agency. We got some holes to fill, guys. All right, Philadelphia Eagles fans, we're on the board at 32 overall. Take a look at the board and see who's left. I do like Colston Loveland. There are rumors that Dallas Goedert is on the trade block, so we'll have to see how that plays out. He's definitely in play for me. A guy like Gray Zabel, I really like as well. He's like a kind of Swiss Army knife offensive lineman. He could play every tackle position, both guard positions and center. He's kind of a plug-and-play starter at right guard. But the guy that's really screaming out to me that I love personally, TJ Sanders. And I also like Trey Amos. That's an interesting play as well. And now the safety position with that hole opening up, I'm not the biggest Sidney Brown believer. He gets torched a lot, so I don't know if I love that. Tyleik Williams is on the board as well from Ohio State. But TJ Sanders, I really love this pick. He's great against the run, solid against the pass, true pass rush grade over 90. That's extremely impressive. You know, on true passing downs, this guy gets to the quarterback for a D lineman, play him right next to Jalen Carter, and take over that Milton Williams role. I like TJ Sanders, 6'4", 290. He'll probably put on a little bit of weight because he's only 21 and a half, so he'll probably be around 300 pounds, you know. So I like TJ Sanders. Colston Loveland's definitely in play for me. But I think the bigger need, especially with all these losses on defense, we need to start addressing the defense. With Sweat gone, Williams gone, Burks gone, Isaiah Rodgers gone, Slay gone. It's a lot of holes to fill, guys. I think we need to start to fill them. TJ Sanders goes to the Eagles at 32 overall for me in the first round. Now, we're in the second round here, guys. Pick 64 overall. Carson Schwarzenegger, he's a very talented linebacker, man. True in the box, off-ball linebacker, 80 overall grade this past season. He didn't play at all in 2023. Didn't really play too much in 2022 either. Dealt with a lot of injuries, so maybe we avoid this in the second round because of all those injuries, right? I don't want to bring in guys that are super injured. But, guys, as I'm looking at the board, I just got super excited. Two guys I absolutely love in this draft spot for me. Ben Morrison, I love Ben Morrison. But Donovan Jackson also on the board as well. He's got an interesting story, right? He was the left guard for Ohio State. Then Jonathan Simmons had that patella ACL injury. He moved over to left tackle, excuse me. He didn't play great the first couple games, but he really came into his own the last 4 games of the year, including games against Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame. He's a definite, solid offensive lineman. But I'm hoping the Eagles can bring back Mekhi Becton, right? He was so effective this year. He makes a lot of sense for me. He makes a lot of sense. But Ben Morrison, guys, I'm telling you, go look at the tape. Ben Morrison is an absolute dog. And I think he's way better than Khalid Ringo is. I think he would be a day one starter. You know, you can't really look at this 2024 grade because he got hurt. He played hurt, and then they shut him down. It was a hip injury. But this dude, if he didn't get hurt, would be a first-round pick. Falling to the Eagles at 64 overall is going to be really hard to pass up. I do love Donovan Jackson, though. There's some great value there with Donovan Jackson. I just don't think a guy of this caliber, cornerback-wise, is going to be there. There's some good guards, because Donovan Jackson's not a tackle at the NFL level. He's a guard. There's some good guards, interior offensive linemen later in the draft. So I'm drafting Ben Morrison, man. I love his tape. I was so impressed. Honestly, out of all the guys I scouted this year, he had the most impressive tape out of all the cornerbacks in this draft. It's not even close. Ben Morrison at 64 overall is a no-brainer for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, 96 overall, the Eagles are up in the 3rd round. A guy like Tez Johnson, he's only 155 pounds. He ran a 4.5 40, so he's not in play for me. But here's a spot where we address tight end. Harold Fannin Jr., smaller school guy, obviously, but he played great against teams like Texas A&M, Penn State. This dude balled out. 95 overall grade. I'm not even going to think twice about it. If Harold Fannin Jr. is on the board, I'm drafting him here, hopefully getting a 4th-round pick for Dallas Goedert. This guy, tremendous pass catcher, right? Now, we're in the 4th round, 28 overall for the Philadelphia Eagles. Take an overview of our draft. We got interior defensive line, cornerback, tight end. I want to look edge. I want to look linebacker here, and I want to look safety. These are the positions of need for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, I do love Jack Kaiser, man. I think he's the best linebacker in this class. Playing him against Zach Baun would be an incredible addition to this defense. I love Jack Kaiser. If you go watch the tape, he's been captain of that Notre Dame defense last season. The dude is a beast, man. Hassanin from Boise State, another guy really good at getting to the quarterback, right? 10 sacks, 17 hits, 35 hurries. He's a very impressive guy, you know what I mean? He's got great physicality, good size, 6'3", 271. He is a solid player, right? I think he could fit in this scheme. 4.77 40-yard dash. I want to see probably a little bit faster of a outside linebacker, right? So I don't know if he's going to fit in this scheme. He hasn't played a lot of football. He's from Cairo, Egypt, but scouts seem to like him. That's an interesting play here, for sure. Jack Kaiser is definitely in play for me. Oladejo from UCLA, another guy who's getting some buzz around the NFL. He played off ball, played outside tackle, played a little bit everywhere. Solid run defender. He's got great positional versatility. He could play off-ball linebacker. He could put his hand in the dirt. That's an interesting pick as well. Kobe King is another guy I really like. I think he'll be available in the 5th round, so I don't know if I'm going to go there at this moment. Oladejo is very interesting to me. Tyler Batty from BYU, another very impressive guy. 29 hurries, 11 hits. That's got to translate more to production, but 6'5", 275. I do like that for the edge defender out of Yale. That's an interesting pick as well. Ahmad Hossein just seems to be like a very interesting guy. 4.77 speed, though. I don't know if that's going to work for this scheme. So it's a tough selection. Tyler Barron from Miami, another guy. And check out his prospect profile, right? 4.62. This is better speed. 6'5", 258. I like this kind of speed. He could play outside linebacker, Tyler Barron, in this scheme. So Tyler Barron, I'm going him, edge defender in the 4th round for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, in the 5th round, we got 3 selections in the 5th round. For me, Kobe King, true off-ball linebacker, 2 great seasons at Penn State. He's an inbox linebacker. I'm going Kobe King with that first pick in the 5th round for sure. Really, really going after some star players in college. I like this draft so far. We're really revamping that defense. We got a linebacker off ball. We got an edge guy. We got a corner. We got an interior defensive line. Cornerback definitely interests me here as well. Fortune from the Gamecocks, man. I like this player. 90 overall coverage grade. 6'1", 185. He's got good length. He's not super explosive, but remember, guys, we're drafting in the 5th round, so we're just trying to find some value here in the 5th round. You know, Logan Brown from Kansas, he interests me as well, bringing in some offensive linemen, right? So I'm probably going to go offensive line and maybe cornerback at this spot in the draft. Really kind of go over. Yeah, O'Donnell Fortune, he's the best corner left on the board. He's going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, pick 169. Logan Brown is still on the board. I want to bring in an offensive lineman. Faux show, guys. We are going to do it. Offensive tackle. Let's check out the interior offensive lineman. Center, I don't love. Jenna Monahan, the center from USC, is still on the board. Emory Jones, the tackle. John Williams from Cincinnati. Another guy I really like, guys, that I've scouted before, is Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. Solid pass blocker, run blocker. Not the best gap grade guy. This is more of a zone runner for sure. Let's take a look at Logan Brown. He's a little bit more diverse in his scheme ability. He can run zone and gap a little bit better. He's a pretty talented guy, man. He's given up no sacks in his entire collegiate career. He's played not a lot of football, right? He's a younger guy, 6'6", 315. Jack Nelson is definitely a lot more experienced. 3-year starter at left tackle. Played a lot more football. Jeff Statland, Jack Nelson is just, I think they could help get his gap grades a little bit better. The zone scheme is great, you know what I mean? So when the Eagles are in those zone looks, so I like that. Jack Nelson, going into Jeff Statland, I love this draft for the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. A lot has changed with all of our players leaving the draft. Leaving the team, sorry. I'm just blown away that they traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson today. He's gone. Josh Sweat's gone. Milton Williams gone. Oren Burks is gone. Isaiah Rodgers gone. Darius Slay gone. Woo, baby. They want us to draft Xavier Restrepo. You're out of your mind. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Xavier Restrepo over Ben Morrison, you are seriously out of your mind. Ben Morrison, Harold Fannin Jr., I think Goddard could potentially get traded, so we need that spot. Kobe King, O'Donnell Fortune, great picks. Harold Fannin Jr. was the most productive tight end in college football this past year, giving us a C+. You got to take these grades from PFF with a grain of salt. They're all metric-based. I'm looking at the players on the field and watching the tape. TJ Sanders, I love that pick for the Eagles. They need D-line help. How you give that a C+ grade, I'll never know, considering Milton Williams is gone. Josh Sweat is gone. They need D-line help. Ben Morrison, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson being gone, and with Isaiah Rodgers being gone, and with Slay being gone, they need secondary help. I love this draft, guys. I think that if the Eagles walk away with a haul like this, TJ Sanders could be a starter. Ben Morrison can be a starter. Harold Fannin Jr. will be a starter at some point and get integrated into this offense. I think Kobe King comes in and starts day one. And then a guy like O'Donnell Fortune in the 5th round. He's a very versatile guy. He could play slot. You could probably even put him at safety. That's why I drafted 2 cornerbacks, because a guy like O'Donnell Fortune can not only play on the outside, he can play inside, he can play safety. You can mix these guys around a little bit for sure. And we need depth in that room. With all these guys walking, we just need bodies because cornerbacks get hurt, right? And God forbid something happens to Cooper DeJean or Quinyon Mitchell. We need depth. There's no way the Eagles are going to go through this season without at least one of these starters, whether it's Ringo, Cooper DeJean, or Quinyon, getting banged up a little bit. That's why you got to add depth to this room. It's very important in Fangio's scheme to have great cornerbacks for sure. I like this draft. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this draft? Do you not like this draft? And let me know your thoughts on all these moves. CJ getting traded, Sweat, Williams, Orange Burks, Isaiah Rodgers, Slay, all gone, guys. Let me know your thoughts on what Howie Roseman is doing in the comments down below. I would love to hear all your thoughts on the Eagles offseason this year. Don't forget to like and subscribe.